Season 2 of the Hiring Librarians podcast. We talk about hiring, getting hired, and broader career issues for librarians, archivists, and other folks in information service professions. I'm your host, Emily Week. This podcast is part of my work on the site hiringlibrarians.com, where I've spent more than a decade asking questions, complex, stupid, and everywhere in between, to LIS workers on both sides of the hiring table. This episode was recorded on September 16th, 2025. My guest today is me. Welcome, podcast listeners, to a very special episode of the Hiring Librarians podcast. This one is just me, Emily Week, and it will be the last and shortest episode of this season. The main message of today's episode is something that I say periodically on social media, and I believe it very strongly. It's this: you are more than your job. In fact, you are not your work at all. You are a worthwhile person regardless of whether or not you have a job, have a good job, hear back from places you apply, have interviews, have successful interviews, etc. You are valued and valuable just as you are. This message was originally intended for job seekers, but it strikes me that we might all benefit from keeping it in mind. This is about more than our tendency for vocational awe. It's about the current precarity of our profession. So many of our federal colleagues have already lost their jobs. I myself have lost work due to IMLS cuts and anti-DEI mandates. It's bad, and it feels likely to get worse. It's wonderful to care about your work and to love your job, but it's important to know that you are still you without it, and you are a worthwhile person. Incidentally, I wrote the script, and then the next day I interviewed Christy Moran, and she said a very similar thing. So if you'd like to hear this message from someone other than me, make sure you go listen to that episode. I'll link it in the show notes. Also, I want to add my voice to those saying it's important for us to continue to work to support each other. Libraries are nothing without librarians. It's easy to fall into a scarcity mindset, especially when the forces that should be caring for us and stewarding our common resources are actively harming us. But there is enough for everyone. Scarcity is being created to pacify and divide us. Don't let them do it. Let's continue to explore what it means to support each other better, and let's do our best to lift each other up. While I'm here, I do want to give some advice for job seekers. As of the date of this recording, 517 of you have answered my most recent survey. 55% of you described yourselves as frustrated. 42% felt alone in your search. 43% said you were somewhat depressed. And 16% described yourselves as despondent. Looking for work is tough, even if you, like 19% of respondents, are feeling optimistic. I encourage you to plan for a job search which might turn out to be a marathon. I encourage you to create what I call a job search self-care plan. Self-care has a bad rap sometimes, especially when it's used by employers to shift attention from an organization's responsibility to remedy poor working conditions. But it's also a necessary part of being a healthy human. You are your own bottom line, and you can also be a great source of kindness and compassion for your own experience. So I have 7 things to consider as you craft your job search self-care plan. Number 1, strategize about how you might meet basic needs in the event that your search lasts longer than expected. This might be some preliminary exploration of social services, or this might be something like having a fallback job. 2, mobilize your support networks, not just family and friends, but colleagues, former classmates, etc. You are not alone. Know who you can reach out to. Reach out now. You don't have to wait till you feel desperate or really need help. Get help now. You're doing something tough. 3, craft your job search so it's not endless and consuming all the hours of your day. Build a schedule for yourself that allows you to relax, to have fun, and to let that shit go. Maybe you'll only look for work Monday through Friday. Maybe you won't spend more than 4 hours at a stretch, or maybe you'll never look at job boards after midnight. Often when we're looking for work, it feels so important that we have trouble allowing ourselves to do anything else. But this is kind of a put the oxygen mask on situation. It is not sustainable to be searching for work 24/7. It is not sustainable. Build some boundaries to keep your search from taking you over. You'll be in a better headspace to create application packets and do well in interviews. Number 4, do things that you enjoy, that make you feel nourished, that support your mental health. Go for a walk, take a bubble bath, cook and enjoy a meal with loved ones, whatever you'd love to do. 5, treat yourself. Build a system of rewards for the tough work you're doing. They need not be elaborate. A cookie, a walk, massage your own feet for a few minutes. 6, make a plan for handling tough feelings. Journaling, therapy, talking with loved ones or pets, whatever. How will you keep your hoping machine running? 7, remember that you are not your work. You are valuable just as you are. I also have some advice for people who hire. You are also doing something difficult. You are also someone in need of care, and you are the best person to care for yourself. When it's time to hire, there are many potential pressures. Staff who need help yesterday, potential employees who are pinning their hopes and dreams on decisions you make or influence, administrators with their own agendas, and of course, the work itself, which may currently be going undone. There are 3 ingredients for you to keep at the forefront. The first and most important is compassion, including self-compassion. Hiring is a process that at its heart is about people, real, imperfect people, and it is a high-stakes process with the potential to change lives. Compassion is the meeting of understanding and kindness. It sees and acknowledges human suffering and in return offers caring. And compassion is for everyone, including the imperfect and including ourselves. The second ingredient is time. Needing to hire generally means that your workplace doesn't have sufficient staff for the things that usually get done to get done. However, hiring is not a process that should be rushed. I feel a little weird saying this because probably the number one complaint I get from job hunters is that it takes too long. But hiring does need to take time. Organize your process so that you can resist the urge to rush. Figure out what operations you can suspend so staff is not overworked. Do plenty of preparation up front so that you know more clearly what you're looking for and your team is well trained and prepared without the urge to scramble. The third ingredient is honest communication. Be very clear about your needs, your ability to pay or to not pay very much, and the length of your process. And then let everyone know. Your staff, your applicants, your administrators, your managers, your boards, everyone. Communicate early, often, and as openly as you can. Don't ghost folks. Let folks know when you've moved to a stage without them or when they're no longer being considered. And consider offering feedback to those who request it. I'll say to you as well, people who hire, you are not your work. Your work does not make you worthwhile. You are already worthwhile. You are valuable just as you are. Finally, this is the last episode of Season 2B of the Hiring Librarians podcast. My plan is to start again probably in February of 2026. I will also be taking some time off from pretty much all Hiring Librarians work, hopefully in December and January. In addition to a new podcast season, I hope to launch a new survey and maybe revisit some previous topical series. I'd love to hear your input about what you're interested in. I have, of course, a survey link listed in the show notes, but you can always just email me directly at hiringlibrarians@gmail.com. I'll say it one more time to close out the episode. You are more than your job. In fact, you are not your work at all. You are a worthwhile person, regardless of whether or not you have a job, regardless of whether or not you have a good job. Hear back from places you apply, have interviews, have successful interviews, etc. You are valued and valuable just as you are. Thank you for listening, and thank you to all of my guests this season. I have really enjoyed our conversations. And now, the fine print. One more plug for my Hiring Basics training. You can find a link to register by going to hiringlibrarians.com/classes. If you'd like to support this podcast and my work on hiringlibrarians.com, you can find my PayPal by visiting the site, or you can go to patreon.com/hiringlibrarians. I'd also love to hear from you about any little thing at all. You can email me at hiringlibrarians@gmail.com. The theme tune was written and performed by Matthew Travers. Thanks, Matthew.